Let me start this video by saying I'm not an AliExpress hater by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, I've posted my Mercure salmon dial jump hour a couple times, and I even have 2 more AliExpress watches on their way to me right now. But with these Addiesdive watches, I found myself facing a double disappointment. Addiesdive offered me a discount on these, but I had a feeling I might not completely love their products, so to ensure I could review them with complete authenticity, I decided to purchase them at full price with my own money. I first saw these watches on Ben's Watches channel when the early versions were released, and I was intrigued. Now that I've had time with the updated models, I'll start by sharing my thoughts on the 3D Cloud watch. This watch has some redeeming features. The sky-inspired dial is very unique and, dare I say, original? Something you rarely see at this price point on a marketplace like AliExpress, which is often known for copying ideas. Other than a Grand Seiko, I couldn't find any other dials like it. I also like how it sits on the wrist. Sadly, the negatives outweigh the positives. The bracelet clasp became defective almost immediately. The curved crystal, while interesting, distorts the view of the dial so much that it becomes frustrating and makes it look very cheap at any angle other than front facing. Then there's the textured clouds design, which initially excited me. However, the execution is so poor that I wish it wasn't textured at all. It's kind of embarrassing. Like, it's fine if you miss a close shot in a match, but why are you booting it from halfway outside the box? And don't get me started on the purple fringes all over the dial. What's that even for? The textured dial isn't helped by the poor quality of the image on the dial itself, which is kind of pixelated. The logo doesn't fit the classy feel of what I think this watch is going for, and the text displaying the water resistance is barely legible. The hour markers don't work for me either. In theory, they should contrast well with the blue of the dial, but for me, it was a miss. Again, something that adds to the cheap look of the watch. And finally, I have to acknowledge that the watch's overall design is a clear ripoff of a Rolex. While I understand that you get what you pay for from a site like AliExpress, brands like Mercure and San Martin have already started branching out with more proprietary designs. I hope Addiesdive follow that lead and create more original pieces in the near future. I know what you're thinking. It sounds like you hate everything about this watch, Kim. Why did you even buy it? My answer to that is this. This is the first watch that has been totally ruined for me because of the quality issues, most of which I could only get a feel for in person. Like, imagine this watch with a functioning clasp, a dial with a crisp image and more detailed texturing, hour markers that matched the rest of the dial, and no purple mess all over the dial. I think it could have been breathtaking. One issue I can live with, but all of these at once is just not good enough for me, and I cannot stand people who hate on things online in comment sections when they've never seen or properly researched something enough to comment on it. So, Now, onto the sand dial. I was more excited about this model, expecting it to feel classier, and in some ways it does. However, it turned out to be even more disappointing in person. To add context, I am mostly comparing this version to the previous version shown here. The new logo is a step forward. The italicized text makes far more sense than the old diver logo. The micro adjust bracelet clasp is another nice feature. The brushed finish looks great, and again, I like how this watch sits on the wrist. But again, the cons outweigh the pros. The new dial has less texture than the previous one, and while some might prefer that, I don't. But a small caveat to this is that it's something I go back and forth on. If I'm honest with myself, there are times I wish it looked more grainy and rough, but other times I think the smoothness makes it look more elegant. Back to the complaining. The crown is smaller, making it less functional, and the text, while finished at a similar quality, I wish was bolder to make a stronger visual impact. I haven't worn this watch out yet, so I'm hopeful the clasp will hold up better than the one on the Cloud dial. So my final thoughts. I bought these 2 watches with the intention of reviewing the updated sand dial model and saw the Cloud dial last minute. Do I regret the purchase? Yes and no. Yes, because of what I've rambled on about in this video, but no, because I don't have a sand or Cloud dial anywhere else in my collection. So maybe with some new straps, I'll grow to love them. Despite my disappointment, I still see potential with Addiesdive as a brand. As unlikely as it might seem after this review, I would genuinely love to showcase their watches in the future on this channel and over on my TikTok, where I go live on Mondays and Wednesdays. Check the description. There's room for them to grow as a brand, and I hope they find their footing. I look forward to the day when they create something that gets my heart racing. This review wasn't fun to make at all. In fact, it feels like my first completely negative review on this channel. But I know when I started making videos here that I had to be honest with you guys. Otherwise, what's the point of building an audience? As always, if you liked this video, let me know why. And if you didn't, tell me why as well. Thanks for watching and have a great day.